Hi, my name is Timothy Earle, and I'm a family coach with Earle Consulting. And today I am speaking on behalf of Jackrabbit Journey Parenting from Within. Big topic. Most parents have lots of questions about this. What do I do when my child needs a consequence? Some people talk about it as a boundary, right? One of the biggest mistakes that people as parents can make is setting consequences after the event, delivering the consequences after the event. Another common mistake is that the consequences don't relate in any way, shape, or form to the event, the action. So I want to talk about these two things today. The first one can be dealt with easily by always trying to stay a step ahead of your children. Not always that easy, but if you can spend some time with your spouse, or if you're a single parent, maybe asking a friend and asking people who are maybe further along in this process than you, what they've experienced and what they're doing as their children entered preteens or teens. And so, for example, with driving, you might start talking at 14 when your child brings up, hey, I'm going to get my driver's license in 2 years. Oh, yeah, you are. You'll be eligible for that. Should we talk about what that would mean and what that's going to look like, just so you were thinking about it? Oh, well, it's still 2 years away. We don't need to. But before they turn 16, good idea to line out, for example, you must maintain a B average or straight A's if your child's capable of it in order to demonstrate that you are ready to have a driver's permit. And you must maintain those grades to demonstrate that you can be responsible, that you're prioritizing correctly. And if you can't, then you won't have access to the car. And also, to be clear, if you expect them to drive your other child to their wrestling practice every day, even though they don't have the B average, then you need to be clear with, except for things that I request you to do, then you'll have access to the car. But just for your own free leisure and other things, you won't. Are they going to pay car insurance? Are they going to have to fill the gas tank? If so, how does all that work? You want to talk about it all ahead of time, so that when you get there, you and your child know where they stand. And if they don't get that B average on one midterm, then they can't drive for that quarter. You can change this up, you can vary it, you can apply it to lots of other examples, but the main point is you're front-loading everything. And the consequences are already known before the event happens. This is great. In most cases it can happen, but there are cases where it can't. Something just spontaneously happens, kid's late, or they slap their sister across the face or something, and you just never expected that to happen. Then I do recommend that you sit down and you ask your child, the preteen or teen, what do you think should be the consequence for this? How can we make sure this doesn't happen again? And how can we make up for what happened? And obviously there should include typical things like, I'm going to apologize to my sister. When I get angry in the future, rather than hit her, I'll let her know that I'm angry and why I'm angry, and if I have to, I'll walk away from the situation. Usually they'll come up with pretty good ideas. If they can't, then you would assist them. And again, what you would do is lay down the consequence now. If this ever happens again, the consequence will be. And if you can, have your preteen or your teen create that consequence. That way, next time it happens, your job as a parent is to follow through and make sure that the consequence is there. In this case, what type of consequence relates to slapping, sister? You might be hard-pressed to find one for that example. So again, if your child can't find one and you can't find one, it is okay at times to say, well, I really feel like the way for you to give back to your sister and to give to the family and make up for this is to do her chores for 3 days and your own. And so it kind of benefits, the sister, and it benefits everybody else. It doesn't really have anything to do with violence or slapping, but it's kind of a way to think about, wow, I did do that, and I need to not do that every time I'm doing her chore. So once again, the main 2 points here with consequences are, make sure you're delivering what the consequence will be for anything you can think of ahead of time, and discussing that with your child. And with a preteen or a teen, always including them by letting them come up with the consequences and the plan of action. So in the first example that I gave you about driving, rather than tell them everything like I did right now, it's kind of an automatic for me as a teacher and sometimes as a parent, I'll be honest. Really ask your child, well, what do you think is going to need to be in place for you to get that driver's permit when you turn 16? And let them come up with it. And once they do, that gives you a good idea, are they thinking correctly about this? Because if they don't have some plan that relates to their grades or some way for you to measure, And it's your job as a parent to come up with it. But they may surprise you, and they may not. They may need some help, some prompting. The second part is having those consequences fit the action or what happened. And I gave you the example of slapping, and I gave you that one on purpose because it's difficult to find a consequence that meets that action exactly. But sometimes, for example, being late, coming home, okay, the curfew isn't 10 o'clock for the next week. Mom and Dad, I'm the child, I will be home at 9 o'clock, an hour early for the whole week to show you that I can respect the boundary and to be given permission next week to stay out till 10. Wow, great. Thank you, the child, for coming up with that consequence. And notice that the consequence meets the action, that they relate to each other. So those are the two big tips about consequences. And if you would like more information, family coaching, please contact Earle-consulting.com. You'll see me and my services there. Or if you'd like parent support and to get this kind of information in a workshop format, really accelerate you as a parent, then contact jackrabbitjourney.com. All right. If I don't hear from you, I hope that this is helpful. And if we do hear from you, then we look forward to that. Thanks a lot. Bye.